Welcome to TYT Sports RotoWire. I'm Heather Ankeny. Ben Mankiewicz is here with Liss. Beating the book. How'd you guys do?
I think I was 3-2.
Let's see.
I was looking at the picks and
Right, here we go.
Steelers, that was good. Steelers Bengals always just reverse what happened last time or last week.
So you'd be inclined, assuming that it matters, and it almost certainly will, in Week 17 in Pittsburgh to take the Bengals?
I have to see what happens before now and then.
Right.
But yeah, just if you were to say who you're going to take now, probably I'd flip it back. Although Andy Dalton, I don't really trust as much as Roethlisberger. And then the Browns, they should have won that game outright. And I don't know why Mike Pettin, who should be probably fired for this, did not make a switch at halftime to Johnny Manziel. But whatever, they covered. Who cares? It's their problem, not mine. The Texans, that was kind of easy money. I wish I'd used them in Survivor, and you wouldn't even be here today if that happened because you'd be so depressed.
Well, but then if you had used the Texans in Survivor, then maybe that same force would have caused me to use the Giants in Survivor, which is who I
would
wanted.
have used up all of that force. And you wouldn't have any left. No, right.
I also considered the Texans in Survivor.
Right.
Considered them both.
And those are way better than the teams we actually did use and lost, but
badly.
So everyone is still in your Survivor.
Yeah, all four people
Survivor
lost.
Tangent, you all lost.
We all lost, so we're all alive. So we all won. I mean, in a way, we all made the right choice. Just let's imagine we made the right choice. It's just that any one of us could have taken down the whole pool.
Right.
Had we just had any courage whatsoever.
So I had the Giants, and I was going to do it, and I got.
So what happens?
You
Clean
bitched
slate?
out.
I bitched out because I was like, no, at this point, you take a 10-point favorite at home. This is what you do. This is how it's done.
Okay, I did the opposite. I used courage. My biggest favorite was Detroit. And I said, you know what? I don't trust Detroit.
I didn't trust
I want to be
Detroit.
courageous and do a lesser team. So sometimes, you know what I mean?
It's not that courageous to pick against the Raiders.
Right. It wasn't that courageous. It was stupid and not as courageous as I'm making it out to be.
All right. Well, back to beating the book.
Yeah, and then I lost with the Bullets, which is actually now a more controversial name than the Redskins, and again, and that was dumb. And then what was the other one that I lost on? Something else stupid. The Bucks. They
almost
had their
backdoor
chance.
cover,
Yeah.
because I had them I bet them on Sunday at 10.5.
Yeah,
which
that was
was
my best bet, actually.
10.5 was so appealing.
Oh, right. That made a difference, actually, for a while.
It was 27-17 there, and they were at the 15-yard line at the end of the game.
Yeah.
I mean, they could have scored from there, but they're bad at football.
Let's see what you did have there, though, Ben.
I think I kept pace. I'm still 2 games back. Chris is 38-31. I'm 36-33. The Bears was just a bad pick. The Chiefs, that's bad luck. I mean, that was a strange fumble that probably can never quite be replicated. It didn't look like any other fumble I've ever seen. It was the right call. He fumbled. It was pretty clear. But, if he doesn't fumble, they at least tie the game.
Right.
And there's a good chance they go ahead. Now, in the defense of the Cardinals, the Chiefs' offense, except for that drive, looked terrible. So did the Cardinal offense. So there's a good chance to kick a field goal. That game goes to overtime, and then it's kind of a coin flip.
Yeah, I knew that game would be unwatchable, and I stayed away from it. And I knew there was a controversy with the Kelsey fumble, but I don't even want to know.
It looked like the ground caused it, but then when you looked at the replay, you could never see it.
Right.
But it was pretty clearly coming out, and they made the right logical call, which was that it was probably coming out. But it was a very strange-looking fumble. But I stand by that pick. It turned out to be okay, and the other ones were all good. Browns, Texans, Giants, those were all relatively easy gambling wins. So we keep pace. I have work to do now. 3 weeks left, 15 games. I got to make up 2. I don't know what we do in the event of a tie.
Actually, we're only 2 weeks left, right? We're not doing 17, are we?
Well, I think we suggested we were doing 17.
All right, we can do 17 if you want. I'll give you a chance.
All right.
If you're ahead by 1 and 16, you're going to regret it.
Totally. Yeah, when I go 5-0, you go 1-4. But we're talking 16.
Right.
Well, starting then with this week, who are you looking at?
I got to pull up my phone because I forgot who I picked already. But I always stick with whatever I pick.
Okay.
I'm religious about this. All right. I'm going to take KC and lay the wood. 10 against Oakland. I like the way Oakland performed off their first win of the season in St. Louis. I think they could replicate something like that in KC. They get very excited after they win. And Kansas City lost to Oakland outright. They just lost again. I think this is where they kind of come back and beat the crap out of the Raiders at home. And it seems like too many points, but I like that. I'm also taking the Giants against the Bullets. The Giants laying 6.5. That seems like an awfully big number for the Giants, and it is. But RG3 is likely starting, and RG3 is checked out.
He's starting?
Likely. And
Really?
because Colt McCoy's binged up.
Oh, that's right.
And maybe RG3, will have a change of perspective. But I'm telling you, watching Kaepernick in that game and Cutler on Thursday night, they look like, and RG3 is even further along the spectrum, they look like okay, I'm the quarterback. I've done this my whole life. This is my job, but I just want this to be over with. As opposed to watching Brady on Sunday, even when he's struggling, he's super focused, he's pissed, he's looking at his receivers, he's in the moment, he's playing football, he's poised. These other guys, it doesn't matter how much natural talent you have. If you're just like, I don't like this, the people are giving me crap in the media, it's not fun anymore, that's how he looks to me.
I said on our Turks and Jerks show that I was totally ready to apply the Jay Cutler body language standard to Kaepernick now.
Right.
It's the same, they look like the same. I have the same massive lack of enthusiasm for the way they
But that's
the way
sad.
and the way they lead their
It is
teams.
sad.
You know, this is and Kaepernick, the way we did on TYT Sports, we've done the press conferences. Like, you're the quarterback, man. Don't give one-word answers. Like, lead.
I'm also taking the Bucks. They bit me last week. They were my best bet. I just think Carolina's a good sell high. I think the Bucks, for whatever reason, they had a tough time. Detroit played pretty well. But I think that, I like to sell high off that. The Cam Newton thing may change the line. Looks like he's okay, though, with that car accident. Doesn't seem like it's going to affect him. But, I'm still taking the Bucks plus 5.5. I'm taking Miami. I thought about this long and hard. I hate going against New England in New England, especially in December. But the more I thought about it, it's
7.5.
It's pretty big now, 7.5.
Okay.
And I just thought, Miami is a very stout, solid team. They need this game. New England's offense struggled a lot of times in San Diego. I think it's going to be a tough game. Miami played Denver very tough in Denver. I think they will make it the same here. And then Buffalo, Green Bay at home is so dominant, although they slipped late in that game, cost me a cover. But I think on the road, you saw what happened in Minnesota. It's a tighter game in Buffalo, freezing cold weather, whatever. They'll still be good, and they can play in the cold. But I think that Buffalo defense is tough. Green Bay's defense isn't that good. I'm going to take the 6 at home with Buffalo. So those are my 5 picks.
Nice.
I hate the lack of playmaking. I have Buffalo in a season-long bet. Each win is worth good money to me, and I just hate watching Kyle Orton right now. I had a bigger belief in him. I thought he was much more solid than he appears to be. He's not a guy you want starting. He's a guy that if your quarterback misses October, you might be okay to stay in the playoff hunt, but I don't think you want him starting games down the stretch. So I hope Buffalo covers. I hope they win, but I doubt it.
You're not taking Green Bay, though.
No, I'm not taking Green Bay. We share one pick here, but 4 are totally independent. So I got a shot.
Good. Yeah.
But there are only 4 games because I'm also taking Tampa Bay. The selling high on Carolina, or selling low, selling high.
You're selling high.
Yeah, right, high. Get a little confused by the lingo.
Yeah.
I still thought that would be more. I thought that would be like a 6.5 point line. It's 5.5, but still, the Buccaneers, they've been in a ton of games this year that they've lost. I think they'll win another game before the year's out. Wouldn't surprise me if this were the game. And obviously, if Cam is hurt, that's only going to make it a little more attractive to get him at 5.5. The games that we do not agree on are the games that I picked that aren't like yours. I like St. Louis at home. I'm prepared to buy in that feels like the team that's going to finish the year incredibly strong, and people are going to talk about what a great coach Jeff Fisher is in the offseason. And Arizona on the road, I just don't look, the Rams haven't given up a point. Granted, they didn't play the best teams, but they didn't give up a point in 2 weeks, and Arizona's offense is, you can cover them. So I like St. Louis to win that game by a touchdown, so I took them.
It's 3.5, though. I mean, you're the 10-3 Cardinals. I know record is kind of not a very good barometer, but they're laying more than the field goal. I'm going to take St. Louis in my full pool also, but I'm just saying.
No, it's a tough one. I mean, if it were 3, it would be so much more attractive. But
doesn't it sometimes make you feel better because the book is begging you to take Arizona?
Totally. That's right. They are. They're begging you to take Arizona, but I'm not going to do it.
Right.
The other 3.5 point favorite at home, I'm going to take them and take Philadelphia. I saw enough in that game. The Cowboys look good against the Bears, but I still think we learned a great deal about Dallas on Thanksgiving, and I'll take the Eagles. Also, bouncing back, and they're at home, but I don't love that game. The games that I've committed to taking was any AFC North home team not favored by more than 3.5, and here Cleveland is getting a point and a half.
Do you have one more variable?
No, I just think that the AFC North teams at home, I think they cover.
Quarterback that's much better than the quarterback they just got rid of.
Perfect.
Yeah, it's just when look if it doesn't apply if you're a 6.5 point favorite at home, but if you're a small favorite or an underdog at home, I don't think that is lost. I don't have any idea whether it's actually true, but I think that small little bit is like, whatever, 3-0. So I'll stick with it and take Cleveland. And then I really had a tough time picking games this week. And then because I don't like Detroit either, and I think that they'll at some point give something back that they ought not to. Minnesota there's some competence there in Minnesota. And getting a full 8 and getting more than a touchdown, I'll take the Vikings +8 against Detroit. But I don't love that. I don't love many.
You like Bridgewater there in Minnesota?
I like him enough that I'd be interested to see what he does next year. I wouldn't think if you're in Minnesota, you got to go out and get another quarterback.
I would bet against all the rookie quarterbacks. That even includes Derek Carr, who played well at San Francisco, or at home against San Francisco this week. I think they're all kind of crappy. None of them portend. Maybe Manziel. We'll see what happens this week.
We'll see what happens this week.
He's getting the nod this week, right?
Yeah, he's
all right. Good luck.